According to the 14th Amendment, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. But if you were to tune into your local news station or check your social media, you'd bear witness to inordinate amounts of people being mistreated by the local or state government or private institutions.
So I think where we're at right now as a nation when it comes to civil rights violations, especially within the criminal justice system involving police and involving communities, is that we've made a lot of progress. I mean, we just recently passed a major criminal justice reform act, the First Step Act. But I think it would be fair to say that current events and videos show that we still have a tremendous amount of work to do. And I think the key thing that's remaining, the bigger challenge is we need to talk about individual police officer accountability, but what we really need to focus on in addition to that are the systems and the structure itself.
You know, during the Oscar Grant movement, there were a number of activists who were so impacted by the murder of Oscar Grant that when Trayvon Martin was murdered, it caused them to write a letter to black folks, which really created the essence of what Black Lives Matter became today. And it was from there, you know, really that created momentum for the movements that we see today concerning police violence in this country.
Well, everyone in the United States has rights protected by the Fourth Amendment or the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. It protects against racial discrimination, general discrimination, Voting Rights Act, any number of things. And everyone has these rights. And so we're frequently in the business of protecting those rights for people who are not in a position to defend themselves.
One of the nation's most prominent civil rights defenders, John Burris, and his team of aggregates have worked for over 35 years to protect the rights of the people in Oakland, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, California.
I am very passionate about this, and many of the cases I've been involved in are extraordinarily important, high visibility cases. Of course, I did the Rodney King case a number of years ago, and that was the first case nationally where the general population can see what police brutality looks like. Rodney King was a person who was beaten unmercifully by LA police officers. It was captured on video, and this became the single most significant police case of that generation. And since then, I've had other cases where videos have been significant. Most recently, the Oscar Grant case, which happened here in Oakland, with a young man on a BART train New Year's Eve. He gets shot in the back by a police officer and shot and killed. And so the cell phones was utilized by everybody on that train that captured what had happened. It was the first time a community sort of organized and came together to protest that kind of shooting in the first instance. And as a consequence of that, that officer was in fact prosecuted. So as a lawyer, sometimes you got to do more of the public relations, you got to do more of the community protesting to help promote the family, because families are not just interested in the legal ramifications. They actually want to see something positive happen in a social justice way. And so we present that opportunity for clients to help them understand and appreciate that there's more to do than just litigate the cases, that will become a social justice. And we're trying to move the social justice needle in a more just way.
Many people say that this criminal justice system has failed, and I reject that notion. I don't think it has failed. I think it's doing exactly what it's designed to do, which means we need to abandon the way we do business today and reconstruct a new system that has better outcomes. And I think John is critical to that. He's critical to the accountability of individual officers. He's critical to the system. He's critical to make sure that we engage in best practices. And so therefore, it doesn't have to be an adversarial relationship. So I looked at John as a partner in changing the criminal justice system, and over the years, he's also become a friend and a mentor.
I believe that the power of the police to use deadly force is one of the most significant responsibilities we can give any public official. But those responsibilities must be guided by common sense legislation to protect human rights and to save lives. And the only way that can be done is for the community to embrace families and support families that have suffered that harm by aiming to bring forth real systemic change through a united voice.
And if an officer is engaged in the conduct, and we see that early enough, we want to pull them out and maybe retrain them, but at least get them off of the streets where they cannot continue to engage in this conduct. So that's one of the important aspects of what we've been able to do. And so case provide opportunities to bring about changes, not just the individual case per se. The case itself becomes a vehicle that can then be used to bring about reforms and social justice, which is most important to me. Because what we're really trying to do is save people's lives, number one, and also save them from being beaten up and are falsely arrested or detained improperly. So there are a lot of objectives here, but I will say this, a lot of progress has been made in the 35, 40 years I've been doing this work.
To learn more, visit us online at johnburrislaw.com.